10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Guys, it is season 3, episode 2. I'm super excited to be here with you all tonight. We have a special show, Fire and Rain, the free agency edition. We are going to bring on our co-host, the grill master himself, Nelsby.
Hi, Heather. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Grill master. I like that Blackstone thing I was talking to you about.
You know, I messed up my words. I wanted to say the griddle master, and
Grill
master came. You kept saying griddle master, and I love it.
Rarely can an old dude like pretend he's Benihana, and it's pretty fun for me. I got a lot of Benihana in me.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
So, man, good stuff tonight, right? We got our boy on tonight, America's guest, our special guest. We have a direct line to him, like Batman, and he comes on. If I'm confused with some shit, he comes on and he fixes it for me. So we're gonna go with the fire and rain. Is that guy fire or is it rain? Because I was driving in the car, couldn't think of the name of the show. Fire and Rain, liked it, heard a little JT. Play a little JT for me. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. It's nice. It puts you in just a rockabye mood, right?
I'll tell you what. I mean, I could listen to this I could just listen to it all night, and it would be great. However, we've got a lot to talk about. So he's out, and you're going to tell us about the new features of Dynasty Depot.
Unreal. Great call by you, Heather. So on Dynasty Depot, we had some people, they're wondering, they look at the site because we show the teams for sale, right? So you can see what's for sale. But some people were like, well, how do we know what they go for? How do we price our teams? So we've put on the homepage the last 25 sales, the dollar denomination of the league, and the last 25 sales and the prices so they can price it out and figure their stuff out from there.
Yep. We would get a lot of emails, what would you price this at? And we can't consult every team that's being listed. So that's a great resource for them to be able to go back, see where to price it. Perfect.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then we added a really cool feature because so you're bidding and we're all busy and you don't always check and you're bidding on teams. We added what's called a 30-minute warning. Football has the 2-minute warning. The Depot has the 30-minute warning where you get an email 30 minutes before on anything you've bid on, letting you know that auction's expiring in 30 days if you care to go jump back on and bid on it.
It's awesome.
It's
great. And the thing is, all of our customers are requesting different features and different upgrades, and the doer gets it done.
I'm a doer.
He's a doer.
I'm a doer.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Well, listen, these customers, we have great customers, but we're always looking to add more. So we have this special promo going on right now for 60 days, $5. So you can jump on to dynastydepot.com. The promo code is FFPC5, and it would be a 60-day trial for only $5.
Amazing. $5, 60 days. Jump on board. See what it's all about, Heather.
Yep. It's awesome.
Okay. Let's do it, right?
We're ready.
Let's do it. Let's bring this guy in. America's guest, RotoWire's man. The man, I can't get off my radio on Sirius FM. I'm riding with my son, and I'm like, oh, that's how he goes, you know Alan? I'm like, do I know Alan? I said, the show ends 1 minute after the show. I'm like, hey, you want to talk to the guy you're just listening to on the radio here? It's my guy, Alan. RotoWire's only Alan Seslowsky. Welcome, my friend.
A superstar in the world of Nels V. That's what I am, right?
Listen, I don't like a lot of people. And I truly don't. And I don't know whether it's because we look alike, we think alike, or we act alike. I love you, man.
I love you, man. And you know what? 2 of the people that you like are on this live stream. I mean, Heather, we're in a very exclusive club here. All right.
Keeps the circle tight.
That's right. Well, I appreciate that. I feel the same way about you. What a love fest. We don't talk enough. We talk, but but I would like to increase our frequency, if you don't mind.
I would like that. I know you've invited me on your show. I'm a very hard man to pin down. Hopefully we can do that sooner rather than later. What else you up to, Alan? Tell us about what you're up to before we go to work here.
Yeah, so we have the Dynasty Hour on SiriusXM. That's a show that lives in the SiriusXM app. So if you want some evergreen Dynasty content, strategy, trade ideas, all that kind of good stuff for Dynasty Fantasy Football, and you have SiriusXM, just search the Dynasty Hour, and we have 4 episodes up there. We have different guests come on every Friday at around 10:30 a.m. We go live with the Dynasty RotoWire Fantasy Football podcast. And the last thing I'll promote is that I am the guest host of the Sonic Truth Dynasty podcast on the Player Profiler Network, which is every Tuesday at 11. But all those things are in the respective podcast things. So we're just doing all Dynasty all the time with some great people like the Podfather and Theo Greminger and all John Laub, all that kind of good stuff. Jordan McNamara, all the Dynasty Depot favorites.
Yep, all good friends of ours and all quality information you're getting from all those guys. Let's go to work. The show is called Fire and Rain, Free Agency Edition. We are going to talk about a bunch of moves. We'll go through the positional moves. I want to hear your opinion. And at the end, me and you are going to go fire or rain on this thing. And I see a lot of storm clouds ahead on this thing, but we're going to roll it out. Let's talk about support.
Fire is good, right?
Fire is good. Rain no bueno.
Right. Like I know you have teenage age children, so they say that's fire. That's good.
Fire good.
Right. Fire good.
Fire. That's
Rain
fire.
no bueno.
Got it.
We're going to keep it simple. Let's talk about some quarterbacks here. So we start with our man, Mr. Carr. Interesting spot. What I'm seeing is an uptick. People think he's going to be pretty good here. Okay. I don't see the weapons. I see some problems there. I see Michael Thomas 13 for 129 and 1 in week 1 and then no more. We're going to use some Spanish. No mas, we say. He will get hurt. He will fingernail. There'll be something. They got Kamara problems down there. How's this guy going to succeed down there?
Yeah, I'm with you. I do not like Derek Carr. He had the worst season of his career last year, and that was with arguably one of the top 3 or 4 best wide receivers, Davante Adams, him throwing the ball. Now I still like Michael Thomas, especially, everything's about where you're able to draft these guys, where you're able to trade for them. In Dynasty Fantasy Football, if you're sitting there, pick 2.2, and I'm not saying you should do this, but somebody will give you Michael Thomas for pick 2.2 and laugh at you that they ripped you off. So I'm just saying is that a wide receiver who's an all-time fantasy football guy, meanwhile, 3 seasons lost, we all know that, he's attainable, and he profiles a little bit more like Davante Adams than Chris Olave. So I do, if we do get some healthy weeks out of Michael Thomas, I think that he's going to outproduce Chris Olave. I love Chris Olave, don't get me wrong here. So solid weapons, right? For some reason, though, it's just Derek Carr doesn't seem to take the chances and force the football in there and allow his guys to make plays. And you said it. People are like, oh, Alvin Kamara might get suspended. I was like operating under the assumption that it's probably going to happen. It's likely to happen. We'll talk about some of the running backs, Jamal Williams, that they saw in there. So I am not happy about if somebody wants to give me a fair price on Derek Carr in like a super flex league, or if we're in a single quarterback league, I'll have him as like the 17th quarterback. I mean, I'll have, all of the mobile quarterbacks, including Daniel Jones ahead of him. Certainly Aaron Rodgers, which we'll talk about in a minute here. So I'm with you that I don't even think about Derek Carr when he gets drafted in season long and certainly in Dynasty. I just want no part of him. The only thing he really has going for him, Nels, is that he's locked into a starting job for 2 seasons.
Right.
Which is valuable.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about Jamal Williams. And just to poke our head on the other side of the hole here, Olave, I mean, people are going nuts for him, right? I mean, he's going for, I just traded him. I got 102 in Superflex. I needed a quarterback. I traded Olave and got 102. Because he doesn't take a lot of chances, Olave's real good at those intermediate routes. I think that's why people are really liking him a lot. If Michael Thomas is there, it's going to help Olave a lot. I feel like if he's there.
Olave is a good player. He should get his. It's just that would it be that outrageous that Olave is being drafted as like wide receiver 11 in dynasty startup drafts?
Yes.
Michael Thomas, I think he was like wide receiver 70 or something like that, or wide receiver 65. If we're sitting here on October 1st, we've played 4 weeks of fantasy football, and I told you that Michael Thomas has outproduced Chris Olave in fantasy points. Would it be surprising to you? No, right?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and I still think that it's okay to be aggressive on Chris Olave if you want, but I just think there's more risk there. Like, I'd rather have Devontae Smith. I can go down the list. Right. And this is not an anti-Chris Olave take. It's it's just that now Michael Thomas is healthy, and we don't love Derek Carr. We like him.
You raining on Derek Carr here?
Oh, I'm rain. I'm throwing the tomatoes at him. This is just the word. Yeah, terrible.
Okay.
Terrible.
I'm kind of on the same page with you. Hey, Heather, see that quarterback in the middle?
Yeah.
That is a good-looking quarterback, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jimmy G? You Jimmy G? You a believer there?
Yeah, he's got a little funny look, but
okay. All right. The ladies seem to love them some Jimmy G. I think
love him.
Well, be pretty popular in the Vegas club scene, I'm guessing. What do you think about Jimmy G, Alan? Talk to me about that spot.
I think that, again, Jimmy G, I put him in the same bucket as Derek Carr. It's the best thing he has going for him is that he has a starting job, and then he's with the coach that likes him, right? Josh McDaniels is part of that New England team that drafted him. And, yeah, he has Devontae Adams for now, right? We don't know if Devontae Adams will be moved or traded. So he has good weapons. I think that he is what we thought of Derek Carr from last year, just a stable guy, not a ton of upside, pretty solid number one wide receiver, and he's okay. It's like, I'm happy.
Tell me if I'm wrong here. When he was in Frisco, right? Derek Carr over Jimmy G. Yeah, I like the comment there. Yes, I'm probably there also. When he was in Frisco, game manager, right?
Yeah.
Why is he not going to be a game manager here?
Yeah.
They're going to hand the ball to Jacobs 35 times. They're going to take 3 deep shots to Adams. They just lost Waller, backed him up with Austin Hooper. Good luck with that move.
Added Jacoby Myers.
Good luck with that move. Okay, so I mean, he feels Mac Jones-ish to me.
Yeah, and where Jimmy G had a lot of his value in San Francisco was all of those players were yak players. You could throw it to George Kittle on a 7-yard pass, and he would turn it into
slant over the middle.
There it is, 30 yards. They turned 7 yards into 30 yards. Right. And I mean, but the market is basically pricing him there, right? He's the last of the quarterbacks that you feel in. This is more of a super flex conversation because in single quarterback leagues, in a redraft league, you'll see these guys on the waiver wire and then get picked up with good matchups. But in dynasty, they're going to be on rosters. You hope that you never have to start these guys. So yeah, I mean, it's really, these are super flex conversations where if you went early in a startup draft, Nelson, and you drafted a vanity quarterback like a Mahomes or a Josh Allen, and you really just want to wait on the position until like the 7th or 8th or 9th round, that's when the Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo conversation happens. They're young enough where you're going to get 2-3 seasons at them, but these aren't 4 and 5 season type of plays.
Right. I agree with you. I'm raining on Jimmy G. I'm not believing there.
Raining, but both of the I would give him versus Derek Carr. I would give him fire just because it just seems like a better fit. Where Derek Carr just doesn't seem like he fits in New Orleans. It just I don't know when things get rough around there. It wouldn't.
Garoppolo will not throw the ball 25 times a game. They will be handing it to Jacobs 30 times a game there.
Okay, fair.
Game manager for me. Game manager.
Yeah, I don't want either.
Talk about the big guy that's getting ready to move to New York City. Now, I have my feelings on this. I want to hear yours.
Yeah, I'm fire for this one, big time. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a a top 8 real NFL quarterback. I would say a top 6
Right.
real NFL quarterback. And this is how I position. Let's forget fantasy football just for 1 second. Answer this question, Nelson. If your favorite team is the Eagles, right? So let's say that the Eagles have the same team right now that they have, except that Nels V gets to choose which quarterback he wants to quarterback this team just for 1 season. And the only options are Trevor Lawrence or Aaron Rodgers. Real football. Who do you want quarterbacking?
Of course.
Well, what's the answer?
Yeah, it's Rodgers.
There it is. So
and Rodgers or Daniel Jones from our call-in text thing here, Fantasy Football 2244, Rodgers or Daniel Jones. Are you talking about one season, or are you talking about putting him on your dynasty roster? That probably makes a difference in my answer there. But going into Rodgers. So here's my thought on him. It's not even football oriented. This guy is a lunatic, right? He's a lunatic that does things for reasons that we don't understand. And him being semi-pushed out of Green Bay, okay, after, when he looks in the mirror and says, I did for that goddamn franchise, I won him a Super Bowl, right? I think he just lights shit up next year, man.
Yeah.
Because that's just the kind of guy he is.
The chip on the shoulder narrative type of thing?
Way worse than that.
Yeah,
Whatever's worse than that.
Scorched earth.
Scorched earth. Aaron Rodgers is scorched earth there. And, do they have the weapons? I'm not sure it really matters, because they haven't had anybody there that could throw a ball 10 yards, right?
Yeah, no, they have weapons. I mean,
Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall comes back. That's a huge factor right there, right? Lazard coming in, he'll have 40 catches.
They signed, not that you love him for fantasy football, but Mecole Hardman, they signed him today.
Yeah.
He fits a specific purpose on an offense,
which
is send him long, throw a couple balls his way. I mean, he's not great.
He plays 3 games a year, so I don't worry about Mecole Hardman. He plays 3 games a year. I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
He's got enough there, and we've seen him do a lot with nothing.
Yep.
Okay, and the fact he's got Garrett Wilson there, who I think's a star.
Oh yeah.
He could literally catch 120 balls this year with him there.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. I'm thinking that the comp I'm making, if this deal does get done and they don't have to give up any significant, players, or I can't even think who it would be at this point, because I thought Elijah Moore would be part of that trade. Obviously, that didn't happen in Cleveland now. But I'm thinking Brett Favre when he went to Minnesota. That's what I'm thinking for Aaron Rodgers this year. Like that type of late season, late career surge. I mean, Aaron Rodgers won the MVP 2 of the last 3 seasons. He's still a good quarterback. Was a down season a little bit last year by Aaron Rodgers standards. And for fantasy football, because that's really what we're talking about here, I think if you have Garrett Wilson, people are pushing Garrett Wilson up in dynasty drafts to wide receiver 5, 6?
He's top 5, top 6, yeah.
Right. So if you love Garrett Wilson that much, that means, and the assumption is that Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback for at least 1 season, probably 2. Hopefully, if they have some success there. So you have to like Aaron Rodgers, right? I mean, you mentioned Breece Hall. Eventually, when he comes back, he's going to be one of the elite rushing threats. So I like Aaron Rodgers. I probably would rank him for fantasy football. I mean, for dynasty, his age, you're going to get a bargain, right?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, you're going to get him in the 7th to 10th round in super flex leagues. He's probably going to be quarterback 8. Jordan Love might go off the board before him because of age. That's how dynasty players think, Nelson.
Right. Dynasty players forget the object is to win.
Yeah, they're allergic.
Not say I have this great young team. The object is to win. Okay, it's hard to win. Win when you can win.
They suffer.
We both love Rodgers there.
Yeah, they suffer. Dynasty players suffer from sexy roster syndrome. They like to look at their roster and see a bunch of young, unproven players and a bunch of first-round picks, and that's why when I get into these dynasty startups, I'm always grabbing the DeAndre Hopkins later on, and I love young players. There it is. Mike Evans, Aaron Rodgers is my QB2 in a league. I got him in the 11th round of a super flex. I mean,
beautiful.
Forget about it.
Good to go. Let's move on, Heather. Let's talk a little running backs here. I like the first guy. Okay. I've been a Montgomery guy from the beginning. I'm always the guy drafting him. I had him out of my 84 teams last year. I had him on 47 rosters. Okay. What do you think about the move here?
If Jamal Williams was able to do what he did, lead the league in NFL in touchdowns last year, you have to like Montgomery, because I think that the conventional wisdom on Montgomery is he's a better player than Jamal Williams. He could do more things. So based on what we saw last year, and if now that they're Jamison Williams, the wide receiver who basically had a red shirt on his rookie season, can open up the field a little more and spread the defenses out, you have to think Montgomery is a virtual lock for 10 touchdowns. So right now in redraft, Nelson, David Montgomery is RB what? Take a guess in redraft. So basically for this year.
20?
27. It's a crime.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift, his backfield mate, is RB 19. It sounds like we're in agreement here that these ADPs are going to swap or at least converge over the next few months. I love David Montgomery too. I've never, last year, let's see, where did Montgomery finish last year? It was RB 24. So not a great finish.
Missed some time.
That's part of it, right? I mean, when you look on points per game, but missed some time. Great call there, but they're running backs. They're all going to miss time. And if they don't, that should be baked into their ADP too. Like peak Ezekiel Elliott, one of his superpowers was he never missed a game, right? He was out there. So I'm with you. If I was ranking David Montgomery for this season, he would probably be in my top 15. And given the situation where he's probably on a 2-year real deal here, regardless of the contract says, I think that even like the 15th or 18th running back is reasonable, but it's so easy to see him over delivering on that. Right. So fire for David Montgomery.
Solid player. Great pick. You're going to get value on him for a while. Love him.
Yep. Also the fact that Jared Goff is not one to get end zone touchdowns himself. So like he's not one of these running quarterbacks. So Montgomery, I mean, when you say 10, if I was giving you that as your number, wouldn't you take the over on that?
Yes.
Exactly.
I would, because his running mate can't stay healthy or doesn't like to play hurt, or we don't know that story yet. But
so we've agreed on all these so far.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah,
we have.
The only thing I didn't agree with you on is that I think I would describe Aaron Rodgers as eccentric, not weird or like a bad guy.
I like the fire in the ground thing. You know what I'm saying? He's nuts. He's nuts. I like it. Competitive nuts. I love it.
Yeah.
Jamal Williams, 17 touchdowns last year, 19, led the NFL in touchdowns. Always been a fan. I remember when he was drafted, and I think he went one round before or after Aaron Jones. They both went 5th, 6th, or something like that.
4th and 5th. They're right. Jamal Williams
5th.
was drafted ahead of him. That was
I'm old, but I still remember shit. I remember talking to a guy. He goes, different players, both really good players. And I said, because we thought, who's going to be the Packers back then? You didn't know who was going to be. They drafted them both good players. This guy's turned out to be a hell of an NFL player, man. And he people love him wherever he goes, and the man produces wherever he goes.
Yep.
I like him. I don't think Kamara sees the field this year.
Oh, you think a full year suspension?
I think the man could go to jail. There's a possibility he could go to jail. There's a lot more to this. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Wait, you're not a lawyer?
I'm a griddle guy, man. I'm a doer. I'm a griddle guy and a doer. But I think Kamara, I think he's got big problems there. I mean, that was on tape, and it is what it is. And you can't say I didn't do it, because you did do it. And NFL with the Ray Rice things and all these other things, the stuff on video that's so flagrant like that.
Yeah, but I don't think that people see that type of a crime as oh, it's bad. And I agree with you that it could be 6 to 8 games, but I don't think it gets past 8 games. And even if they give him 10, I could see it being reduced to 6. It's one of those crimes where people are like, it was like a fight with a bar fight, more or less, right?
I get it. But when you're kicking people in the head and stuff like that, I'm betting on more than 10. I'm betting on a year here.
I think like you haven't done that, Nels. You've kicked some people when they're
I'm a
down.
doer and I'm a lover, man. It's what it is. I'm a doer and I just do what I say. But I like Jamal Williams. What, you like him down there?
I mean, he couldn't have landed in a more perfect spot, right? Like
nobody thinks successful.
Yeah, nobody for fantasy football. And by the way, the dynasty market, it's going to be low on him. One, because of age. Two, because he doesn't make any flashy plays, right?
What's his ADP in redraft right now?
In redraft, here I'll take a look. But I would imagine it's probably moving up. But I would probably say it's around RB 33. But I'm going to check while we're talking because I want to give you an exact answer on that. But we can fire for him too. I mean, it's just these two guys are here, Montgomery and Jamal Williams.
Right, 27, 32, 33.
I mean, this is the reason that you wait. I normally go aggressive on running backs early because everyone else in the room is fighting over the wide receivers. This is the case to go early wide receiver and wait on running back because both of these guys are locked into jobs they both signed multi-year contracts that can't be. Mm-hmm.
Yep, so I agree with you 1,000%.
Damn, we got to find one we disagree on.
We might here. You ready?
Yeah, I'm pro Miles Sanders, just so you know.
It's pouring rain. Here we go. Tell me why you're pro Miles Sanders there. He's pouring rain on me.
Well, one is the price, right? Nobody is paying up for Miles Sanders. He's available in the 7th round.
I'm going to outdo you here, by the way, at the end of this. You're going to agree with me, and you're going to move over to the dark side after I get done with this.
And by the way, I'm on an island alone, and I don't love Miles Sanders. I like that no one else likes him, and I'll take him on my team. He got paid. He's getting paid $6 million for base salary, a couple million extra in incentives, which why wouldn't he hit those incentives? He's the lead back. And they paid him by running back standards. That's top of the end of the market money. They're going to have a rookie quarterback, so he's going to get the ball. The offensive line in Carolina isn't bad. I mean, they've drafted some offensive linemen. Now they're going to have to figure out a way to piece together a passing game. But yeah, there's going to be games where Miles Sanders has 17 carries for 48 yards. But if he's your third running back, he has a job. And there's going to be game. Miles Sanders is still a good player. I mean, you had him over there on the Eagles for a while and at Penn State. So he's a good player that's still in his athletic peak, and he got paid. So where he's going in drafts, he might even be your 4th running back. But I think that Carolina's on the ascend, and if their rookie quarterback turns out to be good, that's only a boon for him. So what's the case against Miles Sanders?
All right. So
here we go. Nelson said he was not a lawyer, and now he is about to
make the case.
The case. So let's say what he's got.
All right. So from watching him these years in Philly, he was basically replaced in the playoffs by Kenneth Gainwell because Miles Sanders playing behind the best offensive line in football, you would agree with, correct?
Top 2, top 3, if not one.
One of the best. Does not hit the holes. He's a dancer. Okay? He started to get phased out, and he did get phased out in the playoffs to Gainwell, because he doesn't hit the hole. Miles Sanders came out of Penn State as a pass-catching running back. Please look at the amount of receptions he's had the last 2 years. He can't catch the ball anymore. He actually never caught the ball. His rookie year he caught the ball a little bit. The last 2 years, receptions are low. You can probably pull that number up for me.
You talking about Miles Sanders' receptions over the last couple of years?
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, Jamal Williams, RB 34 by ADP this year. This is circling back to what we were talking about earlier.
Right. So I'll keep yapping while you pull these numbers up.
You're talking about his NFL. By the way, so Miles Sanders in the NFL, the last few years, let's see. Okay, keep going here. But yeah, we know they were lower, and he was expected to be a pass-catching running back.
They're lower because they brought in Gainwell because he can't catch the ball. Okay, he's going to Carolina, correct? Who is the running backs coach in Carolina?
They got a new one this year, right?
Is it Mr. Deuce Staley?
Yep.
I believe.
Go ahead.
Okay. 3 running back system. Okay, so it's Sanders, Chuba, and whatever else they're doing there.
Here's your reception numbers from Miles Sanders.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
So he actually, in 2019, his rookie year, he had, it looks like 50 receptions, rock solid. Then 28, 26, and 20. It's declining every year. So he's not a 0 in the passing game. But yeah, he's not, but in the past, remember, we were paying a 3rd-round pick. I mean, Miles Sanders was a fringe 1st-round pick a few years ago. He's the 7th-round pick. He's an 8th-round pick. He's got a starting job, even if he's in a 3-headed committee. And by the way, everything you said, I can't tell you you're wrong. But the draft room is giving you Miles Sanders at RB 26 right now in redraft. And in Dynasty, it can't be that much different. He's a body that you can start.
I take Jamal Williams over him 100 out of 100 times.
Fair. That's fair.
100 out of 100. David Montgomery, same range, 100 out of 100 times. Moving on.
Yeah.
Brought this guy into my boys in Philly for $1.5 million.
Only 600,000 guaranteed, Nelson.
600 guaranteed.
That's nothing.
Now, this guy cannot stay healthy ever. 5 games he played last year. I don't know. But when the man's been on the field, he's been a monster. Okay? He could pick him up, put him down at 220 pounds, and he's a monster. Philly re-signed Boston Scott. Philly has Kenneth Gainwell, who's going to play more and more. Do you think this guy's the lead back banger that they were looking for? Because I'm hearing a lot of stuff in Philly, especially somebody with a sighting yesterday and a photo of Mr. Robinson in Philadelphia for a nice meeting the other day. There's a lot of chatter about him here.
Yeah, Bijan Robinson. And what's the Eagles' first pick? What number pick is it? 10? Yeah, he might be off the board at 10 already, just to let you know. But yeah, I mean, that's the range in where he's.
I don't think he will be, but he could.
You don't think that Minnesota at 8?
I don't know.
If they're shopping Dalvin on.
We're going to talk about Dalvin. I don't know. But going back to Penny, the guy could play, can't stay healthy.
Yeah. I mean, for the games he's healthy.
Back, good pick, right?
Yeah. I mean, for what they're paying him, Boston Scott's making more money than Rashad Penny. And if Rashad Penny can give them a few usable games, and I mean, look, a couple years ago, Rashad Penny we use this term a lot in fantasy football, Nelson, Heather. We say league winner. He literally was a league winner in the FFPC. So for the games he's healthy, and his over for healthy games is what, 6.5, I would say, 7.5. You take the over under on that. Who knows? But great signing.
Under.
So there you go. So if you're going to draft him in fantasy football, just know that he's going to be hopefully have an IR spot, but he's going to be useful, and hopefully he's there for you when weeks 14, 15, 16, 17, when the money's on the table.
But you're going with a guy with immense amount of talent to the top rushing team in the league. If this guy stays healthy, it could be pretty good.
Yeah, and the Eagles are probably seeing him using him like a rental car. You know, like when you rent a car, you're taking those turns a little sharper. You're peeling out. You're throwing your soda in the back. You don't take. They're not going to handle him with kid gloves. They're going to treat him like a Hertz rental car.
Correct. I like it. So you like him in Philly, right? You can't not like him.
For the money, 600 guaranteed. I mean, what the heck's not to like? I would like it if no matter who it was in Philly.
He's the first running back to go on our show to make less money than you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that'd be great.
The first guy to make less money than you.
Well, I'm a very wealthy man. You know that.
I know that. Mr. Foreman, you never know. Enigma guy, right? Came into the league, a fire, rain with injuries, bouncing around. Big man, a lot of talent. Guy can play when he's on the field.
Yeah, I mean, he had 5 100-yard games last year, Nelson. I mean, that's significant, right? That's like a real thing. Yep. So and everyone likes the running back that's paired up with the mobile quarterback. Now, it's going to be tough sometimes to project him because everyone likes Khalil Herbert, and Khalil Herbert might be the lead back where Foreman's more of the like you said, the short yardage, the banger, touchdown guy. So yeah, Foreman's going to have some value. I like the land. I like that Foreman landed with the Bears, so I'm going to give it fire because I was nervous that Foreman could land with another running back that we like and tear down their fantasy value. Like if Foreman landed with Rashad White in Tampa, that would have been bad for White. If he landed with the Cowboys with Tony Pollard, that would be bad for Pollard. This doesn't really change what we thought of Khalil Herbert. Herbert's still going to have that same role, 8 to 14 touches, hopefully a few pass catches.
It's funny because you're looking at RB's 27 to 40 on this screen here. And if you're stacked up at receiver, got yourself a good QB, and this is your backfield, could be sitting on something.
Yeah. Who made these graphics, by the way? Well done on the graphics. Is this Heather that put together this?
Fantasy Heather is amazing.
I mean, this is this is network level. I feel like this is like CBS, NBC, ABC level, like with the pictures, the fire, the rain, the fonts. I mean, this is A+ bang up.
I mean, when we knew you were coming on, we had a stat. Heather goes, "What should we do?" I said, "Spend the whole budget. Only the best for Allen."
Don't give me shit graphics. I will not appear on this show anymore.
Dude, you're happy. I mean, you look good there. I mean, you look good. Moving on.
Thanks,
Talk for a wide
Alan.
receiver.
Well done.
It is.
Only the best for my Allen.
Thank you, Heather. I appreciate that.
Can this guy play?
Jacoby Myers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think so. But he's going from, it's basically isn't it funny how Juju Smith-Schuster basically replaced Jacoby Myers, right? And everyone thinks that, like, okay, that's about the same. Jacoby Myers goes to a situation where it's New England light, right? You got Jimmy Garoppolo and Josh McDaniels there. So I expect exactly the same thing out of Jacoby Myers. He's fine. You're going to get him as your fourth wide receiver. If you want to cash him in for picks, you're going to have to give up a second round or take a second round pick for him. And he's one of these guys that's going to get you 7 for 70 on a lot of days, never score a touchdown. Maybe he will this year.
Maybe the new team he scores.
Yeah, maybe. But like, this is like a PPR board. This is the new Jarvis Landry, right?
Okay.
So
that's a great call. It's a great call. You're getting 5 for 60 most games, and every once in a while, it's a little better.
Give me an 8 for 80 once in a while.
Right, so you could peg him in for 80 catches, 900 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And if he gets hot, he gets 6 or 7, right?
That would be like what the Vegas book would set it on. You are spot on, my friend there. So, I think he can play, but it's a boring – you don't need to hit a home run on every pick in your dynasty startup draft. It's okay to hit a double, and Jacoby Myers is a double.
Right. If you got to sub him in on bye week, you could do a lot worse.
Right. And in these, I know FFPC is 2 wide receivers and 2 flex, but in some of these crazy leagues.
FFPC has the triflex now, which is 3 starting wide receivers and 2 flexes.
There it is. Yeah. So in those formats, 3 wide receivers, mandatory start. Jacoby Myers' value is going to go up a little bit.
Okay, next guy annoys me, right? So with his mouth after the Super Bowl has annoyed me. His tweets. My son used to have his jersey when he was AB's running mate, right? And love Juju, the coming out, the 19-year-old Twitter, everybody love. Now he's just annoying. And I don't care what you say. I'm calling rain here.
Yeah, I think that's rain. You're not going to have any arguments for me there. Do you remember it wasn't too long ago that Juju Smith-Schuster was, I would say, one of the consensus wide receiver 1 overall in Dynasty Fantasy Football?
Correct.
I mean, it's insane that right now he would be outside the top 35 for sure.
It's always the chicken and the egg thing, right? When you're playing with an alpha dog like AB, were you great because of AB, or what's the deal there? Can you handle it yourself? Obviously, he can't handle it himself. Solid player, Jacoby Myers type, no frills kind of thing. New situation. I don't know. That looks like the death zone up there to me. But
and in New England too. I mean, at least New England has a credible play caller this year with Bill O'Brien coming back. The last couple of years, or last year with Joe Judge and Matt Patricia calling plays. I mean, those guys weren't even offensive coordinators. You had Mac Jones getting frustrated. Bailey Zappi was
the pencil over here is offense. The pencil over here was the defense.
I like that. That's good.
I see which side the pencil was on. I didn't know which side of the ball he was on.
Yeah, it was like that hat with the arrow that goes. Do you remember those old hats they had with the arrow through it? But it would go there. That they should deal with the pencil through his head. But yeah, at least so I have a little bit more. Let's say I think there could be some value in Juju Smith-Schuster because I think the market agrees with you. They don't think he's any good. No one thinks Mac Jones is anything more than a game manager, and they're probably better than that. So Rain, yes, but if Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be wide receiver like 47, and I'll look up exactly where he is going this year, I think there's probably I think you could get some sneaky weeks out of Juju. But overall, I'm with you. He's an annoying personality, and the fan in me doesn't root for him.
The next guy landed in the fire. Not sure he's fire, but he landed in the fire.
Before you say that, wide receiver 50 for Juju right now on Underdog.
I don't want to.
Yeah,
he's annoying.
Wide receiver 50 is interesting. But God, you were talking about landing in the fire,
jumping out of a plane, falling to your death, landing in the fire, and standing up and said, "I'm fine." Right? This guy can play. He's always played. I don't know what the problem is with the bouncing around of the teams. I was really happy when I saw him get laid out in Super Bowl 52, about 15 feet away from me to end his night there. So I like that. But I'm always looking to have this guy on my team. Now I think I'm really looking to have this guy on my team. Talk to me about him.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks goes to it's funny because they gave up a 5th and a 6th round pick to go get him. The same, didn't they trade Amari Cooper away for a 5th round pick? Wouldn't they have been better served just holding on? I don't think I'm breaking any news there.
I didn't say those starheads are geniuses down in Dallas. I'm there and calling any of those guys geniuses. Okay.
Yeah.
1-0. They do nothing. But this guy can play, man.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks, this is the cheapest he was ever traded for. You just talked about how he's been traded. He's been passed around like a hot potato.
Like the original trade was a 1 to New Orleans.
And he went to New England, right?
He went to New England for a 1.
Right. And then he was traded. Wasn't he traded for a 1 again to the Rams?
Yes.
Right. And then he was traded. What was he traded for to Houston?
I feel like a 3. I feel
right,
like it was
it was a significant pick.
Tell me this guy doesn't produce. If the man can produce in Houston, how's he going to do now?
Yeah, I mean, last year was probably one of his worst years of his career. Let's see, last year. Yeah, not sure. Well, think about this. Last year, only 57 receptions for 700 yards and 3 touchdowns. Compare that to what you're talking about, which is a typical Brandon Cooks year. The year before, 90 catches, over 1,000 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I think that's more in line with what we could see. About 8. We talked about the 80 catch, 1,000-yard guy and 6 touchdowns. The problem with Brandon Cooks, and again, where you're getting him, it's a good price on him. He'll move up a little bit, but he's one of those players where if he does have a 3 for 28 week, 3 catches, 28 yards, you're not going to start him the next week, and then he's going to probably go off on your bench. So although I like the situation, I'm a little bit worried about that his best games, Brandon Cooks, will come on your fantasy bench this year. He's not a plug him and play him player and stick with him through the lean time. So I agree with you.
I think he might be.
So you could see him having like a nice floor, 5 for 60 floor every week.
I've been wrong before. I think he might be. I think this guy might have a huge year there.
The case for, and I could be persuaded, is also that Dalton Schultz is no longer with the team. And say what you want about Dalton Schultz, he was someone that Dak Prescott looked for, especially in key times of the game. So with Tony Pollard not a lock to start the season healthy, right? Zeke gone. They're going to need to get the ball to some playmakers. So you know what? Just hashing this out right here. Brandon Cooks might end up being an undervalued player. So I'm gonna swing over to you over here on this side of the fence.
It's always the good side, my side, my
I
brother.
love it, our side of the fence.
Let's talk about a 33-year-old guy going somewhere with a rookie quarterback, and he's the only guy to throw to.
I mean, start with the negatives, right? It's 33 years old. Other than that, we would love this move, right? Adam Thielen has always been someone that's made his fantasy football money in the red zone. You don't really lose that. He's like a glorified tight end. Now, you said no one else to throw to. Are you not a Terrace Marshall believer at all? Do you think that he could take the step? He's only 22 years old, Nelson. And in Dynasty players don't want him either after 2 okay seasons. But he did flash a little bit last year. So now thrust into that role, I would think that the DJ Moore trade.
You're using the Dynasty D word. Potential. Yeah, that's it. No, I'm not buying Terrace Marshall. I'm not. I'm just not.
He flashed a little last year though. Terrace Marshall. He had some games. Only 22 years old. I mean, he came into the league as a 20-year-old.
I understand.
So
not buying them. Not too hard. See, with FFPC, March 30th, as you know, we have to cut down to 16 guys.
Yeah, FFPC is a glorified keeper league more than it is a dynasty.
16 guys. I mean, you're selling good players for 4th round picks. Jacoby Myers going for a 4th round 24 pick right now. It's tough. There's no room for Terrace Marshalls in FFPC.
I agree with you there. But in some of the leagues, like, I play in 41 dynasty leagues. A lot of them, I love the FFPC format, and like where you're cutting 14 guys, keeping 16. But in some of these leagues where you're starting 3 receivers, 3 flex, and it's 30-man rosters, those are valuable pieces. It's just 2 different games, the FFPC game versus.
It is.
Yep. But back to Thielen. So Thielen won't make the cut line in a lot of those, but I could see Adam Thielen being the guy that a rookie quarterback leans on a little bit. But, if you're hoping he gets 58 catches for 750 yards and 8 touchdowns. That would be the ultimate season for him. So is it a little bit of an overpay for Carolina? I'm not going to be too interested for fantasy football, but he's going to be your 4th receiver. So it's,
right. Right. I think those numbers are probably fairly accurate. Maybe 70 catches this year, maybe 6 touchdowns, but you're in the neighborhood there. Again, you could do a lot worse with your 12th round pick.
Yeah, I mean, DJ Shark was talking to the Panthers. That could be interesting if he ends up signing over there. I would like that for Thielen, just to kind of, not be the only credible wide receiver on that team. That would help his projection a little bit. But as of right now, 33 years old. I mean, Julio
Shark's
Jones
causing me problems because he's like my 17th man on like 7 or 8 teams, and I don't want to cut him.
You got to hold him
where he goes.
Yeah, I mean, where would he? No matter where he goes, you would want him, right? I mean, there's not a situation where he would go where I would say, no, I don't want DJ Shark.
Well, I want to see the money. He goes somewhere and, he signs for $1 million or something like that. Then,
I don't think so. I think he's going to be, at least he wanted to see what the market was paying, in my judgment, before he came in over the top. I think that his agent was smart to wait to the end, because he sees all these $11 million per year deals going. The Jacoby Myers, all these guys, he's going to be the highest paid guy and come in over the top. He's the most skilled and best brand name guy that's left in the wide receiver market. So
he might. Let's move on to those tight ends, Heather, and we'll talk about somebody wrote in and wants us to add somebody to this list. This guy, I don't know, man. I loved him out of Penn State. Think he's got a lot of talent. Got misused in the system the last year and a half. I don't know. Tell me. I'm going to do whatever you tell me here.
Mike Gesicki, and here's what he has going for him, right? Is that Bill O'Brien, the offensive coordinator of the Patriots,
coach in college,
right, did recruit him. He actually was one of the guy that went to Gesicki's house, and so he wanted him on the team. But I think that it's the reasonable thing is he's going to be the backup tight end. You'll never know when to start Mike Gesicki. And I would say that when you're in the middle of the season and you're in tight end hell in your redraft leagues, right, even in Dynasty, if Hunter Henry's out, he's someone that you could put in there and just hope he gets a touchdown. So
you got Noah Fant or Mike Gesicki?
Probably Noah Fant, because he's going to start.
Yeah.
Whereas Gesicki's going to be the clear tight end too, and he, he's a more vertical player than he is.
He's basically getting cut in a lot of FFPCs on the 16-man roster.
Oh, that's yes, because he's like, I mean, what are you going to rank him? Tight end 23?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
So Rain.
Next guy, I'm going to throw a little bit of flame on this guy. I like him.
Well, Dalton Schultz went to the Houston Texans. Tell me, what is it that you like about him? Because he's obviously, it's a downgraded situation from where he was in Dallas, right? It
is. So who's going to be the quarterback in Houston?
Let's say, for sake of argument, it's Bryce Young.
Right. I'm figuring it might be Bryce Young. They're not a lot of speed here. Great route runner, great seam kind of guy. That's what a rookie quarterback, they're going to be looking for their security blankets. I think he's 80, 90 catch guy.
Wow. Okay. So
yeah.
I mean, let's think about who their other pass catching options are, right? They have their wide receiver 1 is Nico Collins.
Right.
Then they signed Noah Brown.
Right.
They're getting John Mechie back, who missed last year.
Maybe if he's
right.
Hopefully.
Right. Him. So yeah, you're right. He's
80,
going
90 catches. You're telling me what you're telling me is it's 80, 90 catches.
I wouldn't have projected them that high, but I could see the case for him. It's a pure volume play. So Dalton Schultz last year, most credible rankings had him around tight end 6-ish.
Right.
Some people I saw him tight end 5, some tight end 8. I
think
that
startup guy last year, by the way.
Well, you knew that they weren't good. He wasn't going to be back on the Cowboys again this year because they franchise tagged, right? And then when you saw Jake Ferguson playing well and Hendershot on Dallas, that kind of was the nail in the coffin here. But yeah, I always thought Schultz was a little overvalued in Dynasty, given that he wasn't going to be back in Dallas. But it sounds like that you're looking at him as one of the volume tight ends, which means he's probably going to be tight end 10 to 14 for you, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, and if you can get, obviously he's not carrying the value he did as a 4th round startup. If you can get him, at a good price, it's a little bit of a gamble, but could be a hell of an investment.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not as bullish on the Houston Texans offense based on what we saw last year, and that Bryce Young, his size, his lack of height does concern me. Not his ability as a football player, but just being a rookie, and then also having the disadvantage of being 5'10". So where Dalton Schultz operates in the middle of the field, I think that's going to be difficult, or at least a challenge until I see it happen for Bryce Young to find him in the middle of the field over that big offensive line, unless they plan on rolling him out. So I'm going to be a little bit more bearish on Dalton Schultz. And I know that there's a big consensus forming around what you just said right there, a volume play. So we're going to disagree here. I'm going to give rain on Dalton Schultz.
Very good. We got a listener. Here it comes right now. Thanks, Heather. Mr. Okonkwo, thoughts on him? Tough guy to judge there because tough passing game there.
I mean, he's going to be everyone's favorite breakout tight end, right? I mean, Chig Okonkwo broke out basically. I mean, Robert Woods is gone. Julio Jones is not going to be back there. I mean, they have Treylon Burks. And presumably they'll draft a wide receiver. I've seen JSN get mocked to Tennessee. I love that fit. So Chig Okonkwo is going to have a real role. Finally, be in every. He is what we wanted Albert O to be, right? This athletic tight end that's going to get opportunity. So he'll be everyone's favorite breakout tight end. You're going to see him on everyone's sleeper list. So Chig Okonkwo in some initial startup rankings is going to be like tight end 16, but I think the sharp rooms in the FFPC are going to take him around tight end 9 to tight end 13.
Really? You think that high?
Yeah, because
I was thinking more on the 15-ish, but
sure. I mean, but someone in your room is going to love Chig Okonkwo, so he's going to be the hero pick, right? Someone's going to reach up and go get him.
Yeah, I mean, he looked good when he gets the ball, man. He's a load.
In early best balls that I've done right now, Chig is tight end 15 on the nose. Dulcich and Cole Kmet going ahead of him. I would prefer Chig over those guys. Dulcich, or I said Dawson Knox going ahead of him. I would probably favor Chig because Dawson Knox is a touchdown dependent guy. Chigakonkwo could have, he could be the receptions guy. And in FFPC dynasty formats, 1.5. 15 is the right ranking, but someone's going to like him better than that.
That's what I had him around 15. So we got some guys that are, there's some cold weather out there, right? Just getting out of winter. It's a little chilly out there right now. So we got some guys, a couple guys out in the cold, couple guys potentially out in the cold. Look at the graphic of the freeze. It looks like the Coors Light logo with the cold over Austin Eckler, but we're going to get back. Where's Zeke going? What's he got left? What's his value to somebody as an obviously not going anywhere as a feature back? Where does he play his final couple years at?
Well, look down the NFL list and see who actually needs a running back. And the answer is, I guess, the Miami Dolphins, maybe, right? They signed their 2 veterans, Jeff Wilson and Mostert. Other than that, nobody really needs a running back other than the Dallas Cowboys. So they're not going to take Zeke back there. So Zeke is going to have to be.
You know where he scares me to go? Where he goes?
I'm going to say Tampa.
Yeah,
it would be
scared.
Yeah. Rashad White. There's 2 running backs that we like from last year that are still in danger, Nelson. And you just totally nailed it with Rashad White. The other guy is Tyler Algier. Mm-hmm. He's in serious danger of getting a backfield mate that can do what he does, right? So if Algier he's a banger. If Fournette or Zeke, and you could see Coach Arthur Smith of the Falcons loving one of these guys, right? So those are the 2 guys that can really take the knees off of Tyler Algier. So I would say Atlanta is probably Zeke or the Fournette spot.
It's it's going to be a $2 million show me thing that's just going to mess those young backs up for us, man.
Yep. Or if they want for years, the Tennessee has been throwing 4th round picks at backup running backs, and just none of them have worked out. From Hassan Haskins to, they had veteran Dontrell Hilliard in there. They threw a late round pick or a free agent, Julius Chestnut. Well, I don't know if he was an undrafted free. So Zeke or Fournette behind Derrick Henry makes a lot of sense too.
That probably will happen. I'm guessing. Next guy, is he done? Kareem Hunt done?
Fournette?
No, Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I think I still believe that I thought Kareem Hunt was going to end up in Dallas. It hasn't happened yet. I thought that he would be a good complementary piece to Tony Pollard. So done, no. I just think that these guys are probably waiting till after the draft to pick their spot.
Right.
Because they don't want to go in there and not be the 3rd running back on a depth chart. So that does them no, unless they are promised something, which none of these guys that you have up on here are promised anything. So you'll see these players signed either after the draft or an injury. And I still think Kareem Hunt could play.
These guys are really tough in FFPC to keep on the 16 because are you keeping the name, you keeping the history, or can these guys still play? Are they still going to get an opportunity? I can't see Elliott not getting an opportunity and scoring 7, 8, 9 touchdowns for somebody next year.
Yeah, it's the cut down is so crazy in FFPC because but who would be like, who are the typical 16th, 14th, 15th, and 16th guys on rosters that are kept? Like, give me a couple of names of the young guys, the upside guys that you're usually keeping in those spots.
Well, Jacoby Myers has been on a bunch of mine, right on the borderline. The tight end we just talked about, Chigo, is been absolutely running right on that cut line there because it's tough, especially in Superflex. If you're carrying 3 quarterbacks, you're really tight, man. You have to carry a D and a kicker, 3 quarterbacks. You're talking about 11 players now to keep on your roster. It's tough. It's tough with these guys. You just going to cut Kareem Hunt loose, or is he going to land somewhere and it's going to stick you, where else? I actually thought Elliott was going to land in Philly.
Oh, and he still could. They've only spent I saw a great meme online the other day, and it showed Miles Sanders. It said $6 million, and then it showed the Philly backfield. It said total running back room $6 million. Right. So they could add a rookie. They could maybe they're seeing how the draft plays out. I mean, Philly will probably have one of these guys. There was many times that we thought Kareem Hunt was going to be a Philadelphia Eagle.
Many times.
Yep. So yeah, these three guys, I think you probably can't hold them in FFPC, but you're probably two of them you're not going to care that you cut. One of them you're going to regret. It's just the problem is you don't know which one.
Probably right. What's going on in Minnesota here? So Madison's back in Minnesota. Thought for sure he was going to try to take a lead back spot somewhere. Or has it been the winky wink, come back, you're our guy, we're figuring out what we're doing with Dalvin?
Yeah, I mean, I think winky, like you said, I love that. They probably told him and said, hey, our plan is you elevate your role. I mean, why else would he come back there, right?
Why else?
Yeah, and then I think Dalvin Cook is a prime player, to the most likely running back to get traded on draft day. Miami, we keep talking about them. Washington Commanders.
There's no way Miami goes in with Mostert and Wilson if they're trying to win. There's no way.
Can't do it, right? Can't do it.
And I'm not even saying they're bad players. Could they go in with those two if they were both guaranteed to stay healthy for 17 games? Probably.
Right.
But neither of them plays more than 6-7 games a year, ever.
And remember that Miami lost their first round pick this year. They forfeited their first round pick. So they're already operating where, running back for the most part is a luxury pick. I mean, it's very rare that you say, oh, this running back fell to an extreme value. That doesn't happen. So without a first round pick, they're already, it's like in a fantasy draft, they're chasing the draft, right? When you're behind. So they cannot afford to draft a running back, not in the 7th round, not in the 6th round or whatever else.
Not.
So one of these guys is going to be a very appealing situation. And
one of these guys is going to be a Dolphin. I'm feeling like.
Yeah, and Dalvin Cook could be part of a thing. Where Miami's not surrendering a pick, but maybe they're swapping rounds with someone. They're giving up their 3rd and getting back a 5th, something like that.
Something. The Austin Eckler situation, does it come to fruition and they move him, or they all settle down and say, hey, this guy's just so damn good, let's just give him a little extra money, keep him happy, or are they going to try to move him?
I think the give him a little extra money, keep him happy, or just say, hey, man, you're under contract. You're $6 million. That's it. Because he's not even making, maybe like you said, to keep him happy, because he's one of those character guys, locker room guys, just is outplayed his contract. You know what? This begs the bigger question, Heather and Nelson. The running backs need their own union, right? They shouldn't be part of the union of the other players because they don't represent the interests of the running back. Running backs make, they get chewed up and spit out. And, or they're drafted in the first round. They have the 5-year contract. Then they get the franchise tag. They're under basically team control for cheap for 6 years. So running backs need to form their own union. How you do that, I don't know. But they don't, or have a reverse contract where they get paid a lot of money up front.
It's so much better to get drafted in the 2nd round than the back end of the 1st because you only got a 4-year contract.
And then to take that, and to underline, take that a step further, a lot of guys that are, rather they tell their agents, tell the teams, don't draft my guy in the 7th round. He'll sign with you as an unrestricted free agent, because then if you're an undrafted free agent, not unrestricted, you're only under contract for 3 years. That's like James Robinson, not even the 4 years. So it's really screwed up. I just tweeted out a video of Austin Eckler that was on a podcast, and he was saying how he was just echoing what we said about how running back market is just so screwed up. So I tweeted back that the running backs need their own union.
Trade today. Elijah Moore going to Cleveland. Thoughts?
The Jets seem to hate him, right? I was shocked. I was really excited.
I don't see the hate, man. Where's the hate for this guy?
He was a healthy scratch for a couple weeks last season, Nelson. I mean, he was one of the hottest trade, buy low or buy this guy now the year before. Everyone loved Elijah Moore. We saw those videos with A.J. Brown and crying.
5th round startup last year.
Yeah, in a single QB, right? And for some reason the Jets soured on him. It does make you wonder why, but it's not that I think this is great for Elijah Moore, but this is just great for Deshaun Watson. I mean, in Superflex League, I can't believe Deshaun Watson's been falling to the 2nd round. He is almost a virtual lock to return to the top 5 or 6 quarterbacks and picks.
Is he?
Oh yeah, I mean, what do you have? 5 top 5 finishes in 5 years. Usually, elite players stay elite, right? I mean, just think about the situation he was walking into last year. I mean, it would have been difficult to operate. Yeah, and I know nobody roots for Deshaun Watson, but we're just talking about his fantasy stats here, right? We're not talking about Deshaun Watson the person. So yeah, this just adds him another credible weapon. So I'm still buying Deshaun Watson. If I can get if somebody wants like to give me Trevor Lawrence and a pick, Deshaun. If I have Trevor Lawrence and I can cash him in for Deshaun Watson plus a pick, I'm doing that. I'm willing to go from not Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, but any of those other quarterbacks. I'm willing to trade down to Watson if I can pick up a 24 first with it.
Good stuff, buddy. Good stuff.
I love what you guys are doing, man. I appreciate it. Heather, rocking, producing the show. And
yeah, I need to see you guys like right next to each other because it is quite eerie, actually.
Uncanny.
I'm taking my hat off.
Here we go.
Like I want to remove my
You got to push that. There it is. There it is.
I just came back from Florida. I have a better tan, even though he lives in Florida.
I know. And overall, you look better.
Oh, look at this one.
I don't know.
I like this layout.
Yeah. This is the.
If you were in the middle, Heather, it would even be better. You could have like.
Alan, can I do that? I don't know if I can.
There you go. Look at that. This should be the standard format for the live-ish.
Like Brady Bunch, kind of like Nelson.
Yeah, I mean
that's right. Here's a story. Great stuff.
We love when you come on. That's some great stuff. We agree on a lot of the same things. Great minds usually do. In closing, where can everybody find you? Where can we listen to you? Tell us some more give us some more love of you.
All right, just follow me at Alan Seslowsky on Twitter, and everything's there. Link to everything. Follow the at RotoWire YouTube page, and if you want to check out all of RotoWire's premium content for free, Dynasty rankings, all sports, RotoWire.com/try. RotoWire.com/try. You put in your email, paywall unlocks for 2 days.
That's a beautiful thing. Heather, we still got a promo at Dynasty Depot for any stragglers that need to come on.
We do. So you know where to find us. Those of you that are already part of our club. If you are not, go check us out. FFPC 5 is going to give you $5 membership for 60 days. So you'd be a fool not to try it.
That should be your slogan. You'd be a fool not to try it.
Was that like Mr. T? Like
pity the fool.
Pity the fool,
Heather. Pity the fool. That's the A team, and you are the A. You make this show the A team, Heather.
Selfishly, I hope you guys do the show every week. I mean, I know it's a labor of love, but I always enjoy it. It's appointment watching for me. I love when you interact with the guests. I love when you interact with Heather. I think you guys have a real great thing going here, and like I said, selfishly, I hope you do it more often.
Aww,
thanks, man. We appreciate it. We love you. Thanks for your knowledge. For Alan Seslowsky of RotoWire, Sidekick Dynasty Depot. Fantasy Heather, I'm Nels V. We love y'all. Peace. Bye.